Welcome to the Athlete to Athlete series. My name is Rennie Curran. I'm a former professional athlete, speaker, leadership coach, and the founder of the Game Changers Foundation. Our mission is to help current and former athletes in sports, business, and life. Each week, we'll be bringing you top former athletes to share tips, tools, and strategies to help you change the game on and off the field. Our series is made possible through our amazing sponsors, the Sports Turf Company. This week on the Athlete to Athlete series, we bring you another guest from the great state of Florida. I don't usually do this, but every once in a while I bring on a Florida Gator and make things a little exciting, get some back and forth, chitter and chatter. But this week's guest is a legend. He played quarterback out of high school, Fort Walton Beach High School, and just an amazing guy doing some powerful things. You guys are really gonna love everything that he has the opportunity to share. We have none other than Heisman winner Danny Wuerffel. Danny, how you doing?
Rennie, it's great to be with you as always, man. You're looking great. Arms are big. Glad you're not tackling me these days.
Oh man, definitely those days are over, man. But man, so glad to have you on. I really appreciate your time. I know you're an extremely busy guy. The first question I always love to ask every guest we have on the show, man, is just tell us about your high school experiences and some of the great things you're able to accomplish.
Well, when I think of high school, we had some tremendous lows. When I got there, we were 3-7. There was so much discouragement. And then my senior year, we were 14-0 and won the state championship. So I just remember it's a little bit like life. There were some deep lows, there were some big highs, there were some crushing losses and some exhilarating victories. But I also just remember so much how it shaped me as a person. I remember I could quote for you the lessons that my high school coach taught us, the things that we did to develop character and heart and positivity and pride in ourselves and helping others, like all these lessons that are so important for life and much of who I am. I can look back and see how my high school football experience really kind of shaped who I am today.
Yeah, I love it, man. You're exactly right. Like so much of high school sets that foundation and just, diving deeper into that, man, what was one of the biggest challenges that you faced and what were some of the things that you did to overcome that?
Well, I mean, there was always some injuries. There was always things that were nagging, and you had to kind of push through. I think that looking back, one of the things that we don't realize in high school is as everybody is trying so hard to kind of figure out who they are and assert themselves and their identity and where do I fit in? Am I cool and am I not? And I think when you're a football player, you kind of you get elevated so many to kind of be the cool kid, the popular kid. And since sometimes you don't always recognize what a lot of people are going through and experiencing. And so I think one of the things, I don't know if I overcame it or not, but one of the things that was really important was recognizing that when you're kind of at the top of something, whether you're the leader, whether you're the popular one, whether you're the boss, you really have to make a lot of effort to pay attention to what other people are going through and experiencing. And I just remember some of the relationships that I developed with other people that I didn't realize how significant it was for some of them till years later. And so I just, being a leader, you're going to impact people, how you treat them. If you're rude, if you're a bully, if you're picking on folks, it may be funny at the time, but it's probably a lot more painful for folks than you realize. So overcoming that need of yourself to be cool and helping other people, I think, is a big part of being in high school.
Love it, man. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. And one thing, man, just to switch it up, let's get into just your game day experience, man. What were some of your pregame rituals just as you got ready for those big game changing moments?
Well, we had a coach who really much believed in getting mentally prepared and emotionally. And so I remember after school on game days, we would go sit in the locker room or the weight room, turn the lights off, and we'd have probably 20 or 30 minutes to just sort of center down and kind of let all the distractions of the day and the week fade. But we also did something that was a little strange. We had a guy that used to do some mental training for the military, and he would come in and he would record. He had recording sounds of fans. He had the recording of our band. He had recordings of the cheerleaders. And we would all sit there, and the coach would sort of call a play, and we'd put our helmets on, and we'd be on sort of laying on a mat, and we'd start, being really calm. And then he'd say, you walk to the line of scrimmage, and then the noise would get louder and the band would get louder. We'd call out a play, and then you say hike, and then everybody would jump up on their helmet and their feet and kind of like really explode energy, and then sort of calm back down. And so you do that 3 or 4 times, sort of practicing elevating your intensity and your adrenaline, and then controlling it while visualizing plays. I think, we were kind of ahead of the curve and doing some really creative stuff that really helped us prepare for games.
That's amazing, man. I've never heard about a team doing visualization and things like that. That's awesome, man. One other question I have, and I know we got a lot of aspiring, collegiate athletes and pro athletes, man. But you talked about a lot of those things that you did to separate yourself, and um, I would love to hear just about number one, the teams that you were able to play on throughout your career, and then also what are some of the things that you did to really set yourself apart?
Well, I think there's no substitute for hard work. I mean, we kind of live in a time where everybody wants things quick. We don't have time to watch a 2-minute video anymore. You don't have time to watch a 30-second video, and it's all 14-second TikToks. If we want a meal, we're just gonna order it and have it show up, or go through the drive-through. But the things that matter most in life take time to develop.
Mm.
And whether it's your training, you don't develop arms like you have overnight. You work on those for a long time. You don't develop speed. You don't develop the mental awareness to play certain positions, and it all takes time and energy. So I think that's a big piece of it. I also think it's undervalued these days what it means to be a good teammate.
Mm.
I think so many people are really focused on what's best for them. How do I get more social media following? How do I get more catches or whatever? But when you're part of a group, whether it's a family, you and I were talking about having kids, whether it's being at a job when you get older, or on a team when you're younger, you really only go as far as your team goes. And ultimately, the greatest memories, I think, in life are those that you share with other people. And so to be a good teammate, to care about what other people are going through, to notice when they're hurting, to encourage them when they're tired, those sort of things go a really long way. And I'm getting ready to go back to a 30-year reunion from my high school state championship, and a 25-year reunion from my college national championship. And it's unbelievable the relationships that I still have with these guys from high school and college, because of the way that we bonded as teammates. So I think, working hard and being a good teammate are incredibly important attributes that are getting rarer and rarer these days.
Yeah, I love it, man. You talked about so many great things, from leadership to those transferable skills to the relationships that you built over time, and just switching gears now, because we all know that our career is only so long. What are some of the things that you're doing right now, and what advice would you give to those guys out there who are going to be one day transitioning into the real world?
Yeah, well, the second question first. It's a sobering thing when you're playing to really believe that one day it's going to be over. I think you mentally understand that, but there's a part of us that it's just so ingrained, you just can't really imagine that. I think the other thing is, we usually don't realize how significant to our identity
Mm.
playing our sport is. So you're just a football player, you're usually the most popular, you're often the biggest, you're often known by that part of who you are. And when that's gone, it's a really challenging time for so many people. And I think anything that you can do now to prepare for what's going to happen later is really important. I just talked with 2 different people in the last week who both regretted not taking the time to invest in their futures when they were younger, and missed opportunities that they had. They wish they could go back and do that internship, to learn a new trade, to work hard in something that's uncomfortable, but you gain an experience. And so I really think, thinking ahead, being a good teammate now sets you up for being in good relationships, and getting more opportunities and jobs later, more people that so that's sort of the answer to the second one. And now that I answered that, I can't even remember the first part of your question. Can you remind me of that?
Yeah, man. So what are some of the things you're doing now, man? I'm sure that everyone would love to hear.
Well, I got involved when I was playing for the Saints in New Orleans with an organization in the one of the tough neighborhoods in our country, the Desire Street neighborhood. and I began working with youth and kids and leaders there. And that sort of began to shape kind of my whole life and vocation. And so now what we do at Desire Street, it's full-time nonprofit work for me, is we're helping leaders that live and serve in really tough spots. We're helping them be effective and thriving and sustainable. So we partner and help leaders that live and serve in neighborhoods, and also started, I don't know if you can see it, another thing called the Wuerffel Foundation, and we're working to inspire more service and unity in the world. So just trying to make the world better. There's lots of beautiful things going on in our world, and there's lots of challenging and polarizing things happening, and I hopefully can be one of those that are making things better for everyone.
I love it, man. Love everything you share. One of the biggest things that stuck out to me for what you shared just about preparing for that life after is thinking ahead. You're exactly right. Sounds like you're a guy who did just that along your journey. And I love the work that you're doing as well now that you're done. And, love being a part of it as well. And the last question I have for you, you mentioned that, you have your reunion coming up from your state championship. What's one of the biggest plays that you remember, whether it's from high school or your days as a Gator?
Well, in high school, they kind of run together. The 1991 state championship high school football game was actually played in the Gator Stadium in the swamp.
Wow.
So I was a senior in high school playing for the state championship against Fort Lauderdale St. Thomas Aquinas, who's probably won like 20 state championships in 30 years. They're just unbelievable. And on one of the first plays from scrimmage, we actually were running a triple option. We did a lot of passing, but we also ran a triple option. I put the ball into the fullback. They crowded him, so I pulled it out, and I took two steps, and they ran. I faked the pitch and turn, and there was nobody. I ran 79 yards for a touchdown
Nice.
at the swamp, and that's probably one of my favorite plays from high school. We went on to win that game, and still have memories of us crying and singing songs on the field, holding the trophy.
That's awesome, man. That's what it's all about, man. Those memories. Love hearing about it. And man, I appreciate your time once again. Thank you so much for being on the Athlete to Athlete series. Even though you're a Gator, man, you're like a brother to me. And I really, really appreciate everything you do, everything you stand for, man. And I'm sure so many athletes who are watching this right now are going to take away so many great things from what you said.
Appreciate it. Keep up the great work, man. Investing in high school athletes is a great, worthy endeavor. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, man. Have a good one.
Athlete to Athlete, presented by Sports Turf Company and the Game Changers Foundation.